Hey everybody, it's your boy Commando_Thorn123. Today we are back with another Transformers What If Soundwave was a secret Autobot. As we left off, Knockout, Soundwave, and Starscream witnessed Megatron get infected with the Dark Energon. While the Autobots and their partners have their joy rides, the events lay out just about the same, if not the exact. After Megatron left to find some dead Cybertronians in a valley or anywhere on Earth, Soundwave took this time to find an escape plan for Cliffjumper. Once Soundwave got to Knockout's medbay, he saw Knockout was going to use the cortical psychic patch. With the Knockout's back towards Soundwave, Soundwave just knocks out Knockout. Cliffjumper is surprised that Soundwave would do this, especially to a guy who was going to interrogate him, and Soundwave's on the same team as that same dude. And I think Soundwave would just, pull up an emoji face, like the one in Transformers Prime in Season 3, or in this image right here. So Soundwave removes Cliffjumper's binds, like his handcuffs to the table, or whatever doctors call it, but we're just going to call it for a table. Soundwave then opens a ground bridge, and Cliffjumper and Soundwave go through it. But I think Soundwave would carry Cliffjumper a little bit, because, they did keep him on, a certain way, have him somewhat repaired and somewhat not repaired, just to keep him alive until they get the information they need. So they arrive at an Energon mine, which has no Decepticons, none. This is one of the very few Energon mines I think Soundwave would save for the Autobots, because Soundwave could have just, if Soundwave was the tech officer, he should have been able to detect those Energon spikes, so the Autobots would have had more Energon in this timeline than in the original. So Cliffjumper gets out of Soundwave's grip and then points his blaster at Soundwave and asks why. And for the first time in this series, we have, it's way earlier than in the original. But if you actually hear any time Soundwave, speaks, whenever Soundwave had a recording of someone's voice, you can faintly or distantly hear his actual voice in the far back. So but we get to hear Soundwave, speak in a regular voice of his for the first a lot sooner. So Soundwave then tells Cliffjumper, Megatron is not the same bot I served under. He's gone mad, and I have seen the wrongs I have done. I reject Megatron's hunger for power, and I want to join the Autobots. I think, if you want to go off of how Soundwave would say, this is basically the sum up of it. Cliffjumper is skeptical because of this, because it's Soundwave, everyone. Soundwave is, the most loyal Decepticon ever. He did not abandon Megatron, in his hour of need. Soundwave's been the most loyal Decepticon you will ever meet. This was when Soundwave was supposed to talk. So, back at the Autobot base, RC, Bulkhead, and Bumblebee detect Soundwave and Cliffjumper's signal in the Energon mine. Keep in mind, everyone, Optimus and Ratchet are just left the base, so they're going to the dead Cybertronians. And so Bulkhead and RC head to where Cliffjumper and Soundwave are and find Soundwave and Cliffjumper staring at each other, and Bulkhead and RC would arrive. So, even though I have this image of Bumblebee right here, it was like one of the only images I could get of I could, but this is like later. Anyway, and Cliffjumper is ready to kill, like, all the Autobots are ready to kill Soundwave because, like, Soundwave could have just given away the coordinates. But, this is when Soundwave, like, points out what he could have done. Like, I could have beaten you all in a matter of minutes. I could have let Starscream kill Cliffjumper the day he was captured. I could have let Knockout pluck information from Cliffjumper's head. I could have given all the Energon mining locations to the Decepticons, but I didn't. Want to know why? I saw the Autobots were going to win. If the Autobots were going to win, they needed help, and I'm high in the ranks of Decepticons, so no one would suspect. Everyone was still very hesitant on keeping the most loyal Khan alive, but Soundwave tore off his Decepticon insignia and fell to his knees. Great. So, I think, the bots are still cautious, in my honest opinion, because, like, it's Soundwave, everyone, as we know. And you gotta be cautious with a Decepticon, still. And everything, like, everyone is, like, staying still until Ratchet and Bumblebee come back. And the reason why I pulled up this picture of Fowler is because in the original, Soundwave found Fowler's signal and was going and told Starscream. But since Starscream doesn't have Soundwave, or none of the Decepticons have Soundwave there currently, Fowler doesn't get captured, so Fowler's able to get back to home base. And I think the whole, like, military thing about this, like, Fowler getting upset with the Autobots and Bumblebee, but, like, Fowler has always been, like, one of those guys who are, like, so picky with the Autobots. Like, he gets upset easily with, like, the Autobots. Doesn't matter if it's Optimus or Bumblebee. I think he would get upset with a lot of stuff, especially bringing kids into this, civilian kids, if I may. But, like, Fowler just, like, is not really happy and heads back to base and doesn't really, I think Fowler rethinks, as I'm going through this right now, everyone, I'm thinking Fowler may keep kids out of it because, like, if the military learns that these kids are involved with the Transformers or Autobots and Decepticons, then what are humans going to do? Like, if you've watched the Michael Bay movies, we've cleanly see what humans are capable of against a Decepticon. Like Blackout, he just tore a military base in pieces. So yeah, Fowler thinks, okay, yeah, these kids are better off with the Autobots. So yeah, I think I'm trying to keep some elements the same, everyone. So bear with me, even though Fowler may not do this. I think it's a small chance, but I just want to. We. If I change too many things, everyone, I'm just going to get so lost, and I'm already trying to not get straying off. I know you guys sometimes enjoy straying off of the original timelines, but when it changes so much, it gets to a certain point, you guys might not like it. So anyway, sorry about this whole sidetrack thing. Uh, so Val, once Ratchet and Optimus come back to base, Bumblebee tells them that RC and Bulkhead have Cliffjumper and Soundwave. Ratchet and Optimus are like shocked to hear Soundwave is not on board the Nemesis because Soundwave, let's be honest, everyone, Soundwave lived on the Nemesis 24/7. And every time he wasn't on the Nemesis, it was just for like a grocery list. So all of Team Prime is there, and Optimus once Optimus comes into Soundwave's view, Soundwave says, Optimus, I'm sorry. I am terribly sorry for what I've done to Cybertron. I helped any way I could without giving away my cover. And Ratchet, I think, would be, really skeptical about this and sarcastic and would say, oh, really? So, I think Optimus, would still, I think Optimus is one of the most Autobot who wants a Decepticon to join the ranks of the Autobots. Even though it's not likely, there's still a chance. And we've seen that in 2 episodes of Transformers Prime. So Optimus then stretched out his hand and extended it. Soundwave looks at it and Optimus and then at his hand and thinks that once he takes Optimus's hand, there's no going back. But Soundwave knew that he was becoming a traitor the day he thought more. So he was hesitant, but overall, Soundwave took Optimus's hand, and then Optimus would say, Soundwave, thank you for saving Cliffjumper's life, but just because of this action, we still need to keep an eye out on you. Optimus would say that due to him not fully trusting Soundwave, but, it's a precaution. You can't just, say, oh, this person's a traitor to the Decepticons and then expect them, to be a good guy forever. It's not like that, everyone. It's not as simple as we would hope. Soundwave would understand, and this is where the kids are surprised to see a Soundwave join the Autobots, because only time Jack, Raph, and Miko have seen, or Jack and Raph have seen Decepticons is when they were being attacked by them, and the Viacons didn't really have names, but Soundwave is a special member of the Decepticons. So Ratchet is kind of getting so the whole team is keeping an eye on Soundwave, making sure he doesn't go by the computers, because Soundwave could just easily leak the coordinates of Team Prime's base. Even though Soundwave may not know, he could just send a message to the Nemesis, and then once he gets back to the Nemesis, he could just track it down. And so while Optimus is repairing Ratchet, he would say, some of Team Prime probably would ask what happened to him, and Optimus would say, Megatron raised an army of undead Cybertronians. And Miko, just like in the original, would be upset and say, zombies, why didn't I come? And RC was still having eyes metaphorically blasters locked onto Soundwave. She would ask do you know anything about this? And Soundwave would reply with, yeah. Megatron has gathered Dark Energon is going to make an army of undead warriors. And Raph is like, where can Megatron find enough Cybertronians to get an army? And Optimus can now, the realization hits Optimus like a blast or something heavy. And that's where he realizes it's Cybertron. Because that place has so many bodies, let's be honest. That's the most logical conclusion, as Soundwave would assume that, because he calculated that once Megatron brought an undead soldier back. But he needs a space bridge to get an army like that to Earth, Cliffjumper would say. And this is where Soundwave would say he's got a space bridge, and it's what brought him to Earth. It's high in Earth's orbit. I'm not sure you guys could make it to that place, but I definitely could, because I'm a jet. No offense. And I don't know how the Autobots would react to that. But they still wouldn't trust Soundwave fully, because he could just fly out of there and then leak the coordinates of the base. So, and Ratchet's using a space bridge at that altitude would be suicidal. It would kill you guys, if not separate you. And Optimus and F's so how will you all get there? And Optimus says, we'll have to risk it. And with Megatron's eyes and ears gone, we cannot wait. And I think everyone, if Megatron realizing Soundwave not there, or someone saying Soundwave hasn't returned from wherever, I think Soundwave must have given a good knockout. So anyway, the bots and their partners say their goodbye, good luck to each other, and pray that their partners come back alive. So Team Prime lands onto the space bridge, and so Megatron is going to use the Dark Energon on Cybertron, and to bring back Cybertron's dead. Soundwave would say affirmative, and I doubt my ability to use the space bridge can work, because everyone, I think if Soundwave, I don't know how Soundwave was able to control a space bridge or a ground bridge using his mind. Did they program that into him? Did Shockwave do that? If you guys know, leave a comment down below, because I kind of, if I don't have this info, I'm kind of cooked on this subject. So anyway, we're gonna go with it and say the Decepticons kind of disabled Soundwave's ability to use the Nemesis, because I think there are probably security measures, and once Soundwave leaves the Nemesis, they probably just lock it down. And Optimus would say, then we cannot allow anything to get past us. And then it cuts to the Nemesis, and on board the sorry, I forgot there were other slides, everyone. So Megatron would say, Optimus Prime never disappoint. Wait, what? Soundwave? You traitor! Send the troops and kill that traitor. I think Megatron would be really upset, because Soundwave was one of his most important assets, even before the war. When he was into politics, he used Soundwave's ability to fight and use information. So, without the events of Bulkhead destroying the Nemesis is without Bulkhead destroying the Nemesis is satellite dish to get a space bridge into position. I think it would go somewhat faster but also slower because Soundwave was important to that, and without Soundwave using a directional item or like idea, it would take a little bit of time. So the fight, it would play out the same, and overall the cons open the space bridge and Megatron throws the Dark Energon through the portal. Soundwave also tried to change the Dark Energon's course, but it doesn't work. So then Bulkhead asks, like, how can we fight a whole planet of the undead? And Soundwave would say, like, I have schematics, because everyone, if you're going to, like, I bet Soundwave would be, like, the most logical dude to give a space bridge schematics to is him. And so we'll be able to destroy it. And so Optimus would say, very well, Autobots protect Soundwave. I'll handle Megatron, ordered Optimus. So the fight between Optimus and Megatron goes somewhat the same or a little bit different. I think it would go about both the same and different because Megatron would be a little bit more upset because he just lost one of his most important soldiers, and Optimus probably would have still held his ground, but Megatron would have been way more furious, so I think that would have been changed. And so Soundwave changes the, like, does some rewiring with the Energon, like, the circuitry with the Energon and in the space bridge, and so Soundwave would, and so instead of RC taking the Energon blast from the space bridge explosion, I think Soundwave would take it because he was the one, like, changing everything, and then he would get blasted, and I think he would, near the end of the episode, he would get an Autobot insignia. I think that would be good. I just want to see it. This Decepticon, like, Soundwave is one of my favorite characters, everyone, so this is also why I wanted to put him as an Autobot. So, yeah, we're going, and so this just about ends the same, but with Soundwave getting an Autobot insignia. And now we are moving on to the Masters and Students episode. So Starscream tells the Decepticons of the loss of Megatron and the traitorous Soundwave to gain the minds of his troops. He thinks about getting a stronger soldier because, like, none of the soldiers around are, like, really listening. And so the conversation between Ratchet and Optimus about, like, Megatron being, like, destroyed goes about the same because it is, like, I think there's no reason to make a change to this conversation, and then Soundwave would add into this and say, that is why I brought Megatron back, Optimus. Starscream was unpredictable, and there was a risk if he'd find out, which he probably wouldn't, like, I wouldn't know because he's so unpredictable. But Megatron was predictable, so I could have seen, like, I fought him in the pits of Kaon, so I could just tell, like, okay, you're gonna betray, you betrayed us, so, like, Soundwave could tell, because I think Soundwave always keeps an eye out for everything. And then they learn about the school science fair, and so I believe so instead of them detecting Soundwave and Starscream, they would detect Starscream with an Energon cube. And so Optimus allows Cliffjumper and Soundwave to join him on this mission instead of Bumblebee, because Bumblebee was Raph's partner and he should have been there. So I think two Autobots who don't have partners would go well with Optimus right here. And so the events of Skyquake waking up and like getting mad at Starscream goes about the same. And so Cliffjumper transformed and drove at Skyquake once Skyquake started firing at Optimus. And so once Cliffjumper drove at Skyquake knocks Cliffjumper into the wall and gets ready to fire. Soundwave pulls Skyquake's gun upwards with Optimus and giving Cliffjumper an opening to kick Skyquake into the wall. And Skyquake, seeing Soundwave standing with the Autobots and sees the Autobot insignia and asks, why? And Soundwave would respond with, Skyquake, I realized I was serving for a cause that never cared about me. Skyquake, the Decepticons aren't honorable. Megatron used Dark Energon to resurrect our dead comrades on Cybertron only to acquire his hunger for power. If you want to fix your honor, then turn from Megatron's cause. Skyquake would listen for a little bit, I think, and then say, I will not listen to a traitor. And so Skyquake would just start pulling out his minigun and start firing. So, to avoid being shot at, Optimus, Soundwave, and Cliffjumper would transform and back up. And so Fowler would show up, as in the original. And then Skyquake would get his jet form, and then the whole thing is about the same. And so Cliffjumper jumps on Skyquake's wing and then starts pulling out his circuits and destroys Skyquake's brain and all that other stuff. And then once Skyquake crashed, Cliffjumper jumped on Fowler's jet because I doubt Soundwave's body would have been able to handle that. And so then I think Soundwave would have said, I wish he'd been able to believe me. I think the difference between Skyquake and Dreadwing is listening. Dreadwing, he listened more of than acted. So Skyquake, he didn't really listen. He acted. So anyway, Optimus would have said if he'd strayed from Megatron's path, we wouldn't have to bury him today. So then Soundwave detects an Energon signature way up. And everyone, I think if Soundwave would have been able to detect the Megatron's energy, same as the Nemesis, I think Decepticons and Autobots would have detected it. But the Nemesis probably wouldn't go to the coordinates because Starscream would probably just get mad and say delete those coordinates, and it's probably just a broken thing. So, and Viacons aren't that smart, and let's be honest, Decepticons were never that smart without Megatron around. So Soundwave would transform and head to those coordinates, and Optimus would reply with Soundwave would reply with, Optimus, I'm detecting a Decepticon signal by the space bridge we destroyed. And in my honest opinion, Soundwave would definitely track down Megatron's signal, whether it be on the Nemesis or Autobot base. But I think, let's be honest, everyone, if the Autobots could detect Wheeljack. They probably could have detected, like, Megatron, but they didn't really notice at the time because they were just relaxing or doing something else or pretty busy. Oh, yeah, wait, they were busy with the science fair. So, anyway, Soundwave finds Megatron and, like, all the Team Prime takes Megatron to their base, and like everyone is like very hesitant because even though, like, if you guys haven't heard the saying, like, there's this saying, I believe it's called, like, even though an animal, something's dead, you shouldn't go by it because it could, like, even if it's an injured animal, it's not, it still is dangerous or something like that. So I think they would take Megatron back to base, and Starscream would be leader, but, like, I'm going to wait until we go into more episodes or get into more of the series, and then I'll explain how Megatron is, like, back. Because without Megatron on the Nemesis, it's going to be different, like, really different. And Soundwave, and so I think this is where we're going to end it. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like and subscribe, comment on your favorite part, and comment more if you want to see more of this series. And don't worry if you're worried about Season 2, I am somewhat in progress of making it. So anyway, have a great day, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.